morning. Uh, Let me start by thanking Spring Rain Global for the invite, and especially Dr. Glenda. So thank you for inviting UNHCR, the UN Refugee Agency, to this important event, and thank you for having me on stage. Well, for the timekeeper, I'm Italian, I speak a lot, so, and actually there can be a call for all of you. You can just let me the sign when I'm talking too much. And for moving the slides, I will try maybe with a pointer. Okay, it's actually working. Perfect. Let me go back a second. And when I was approached for this conversation, I thought, okay, I can talk about faith-based giving, but then I realized, do the people know what we do, who we are, why the connection between a UN agency and faith-based giving organizations? So I decided to switch a bit, or to change a bit my presentation, and I think that the common denominator that I found is the shared humanity, and how faith-based organization can work together with UNHCR to help those forced to flee. So let's talk about the topic. Okay, it's not working anymore. So next, please. I will do this sign when I want to move, okay? So next slide. The topic, why we're talking about this. 117 million people forced to flee because of war and persecution. It's a staggering number. Actually, is more than the whole population of the Philippines, since we have many people from the Philippines here. I want to break a myth here, especially a populist myth, that refugees always flee to rich countries. It's not true. 9 out of them, as you can see, actually they flee in middle or low income countries. The war is in a turmoil. The number of emergency keeps growing. You can see the effect of the pandemic, of the COVID-19 pandemic that started in 2019, 2020. Then the war in Ukraine in 2022, with many other conflicts starting and triggering everywhere. And this is the number of emergencies that UNHCR has been supporting and answering to in the last few years. So it's a divided war. Is a war that is a conflict. And our cause and what we do, it keeps getting more and more important. Beyond these numbers, there are human beings, there are individuals like all of us. Allow me to bring some of those stories to you. Ukraine. This is a kindergarten in Odessa that was bombed a year ago. The conflict in Ukraine has displaced over 3 million people inside the country, over 6 million outside of the country, and right now 40% of the whole population in Ukraine needs humanitarian assistance. According to the estimates of the government of Ukraine, the United Nations and the World Bank, the cost of rebuilding the country after the war is over $400 billion. Next. But I also want to talk about the Sudan crisis, because no one is talking about it. And the number of people forced to flee because of the internal conflict is the same one as in Ukraine, 9 million people. But the media are not talking about it. No one is paying attention to it. And right now, our operation in Sudan is only 8% funded. The world is just not looking at it. Beyond that, I wanted to bring the example of Afghanistan, not the usual one. Is actually climate related, because Afghanistan is one of the countries most exposed to climate change. Actually, 33 out of the 34 provinces in Afghanistan have been affected by natural disasters over the last years, earthquakes, floods, and right now, according to the UN estimates, since the beginning of the year, over 145,000 people have been affected by natural disasters. Or In the case of the floods in Africa, this picture was taken in Burundi, actually in Bujumbura, where 35,000 refugees have been affected by the recent floods and heavy rains. Before I move to the next chapter, and a quote by the UN Secretary General, no matter the outcome, this war will have no winners. And allow me to add, war do not have winners or losers, they only have victims. And war does not only affect people, but also heritage, culture, and societies. Our High Commissioner for Refugees, Filippo Grandi, paid a visit to the Odessa Cathedral this January to pay homage, because this cathedral was heavily damaged by a missile in July 2023. What we do as UNHCR, very quickly, because I want to talk about faith-based giving, but you might not know us, and you might still ask yourself why you're here, and what is the connection with what we do. Well, we have a presence for over 70 years, 140 countries, 20,000 people, helping the forcibly displaced. Global presence. Next. This is what we do. We help anyone who is forced to flee their country in everything. Life-saving assistance, the moment you cross the border with nothing on you, but just some money, not even some clothes, nothing. We provide all the core relief items that you might need, from shelter, from a blanket, from a kitchen, from a kitchen set, from food and protection. And then, because this crisis become protracted, we start looking at the other needs: education, protection, livelihood, work. So there is a whole trajectory of empowering refugees and bringing back on their feet, so they can get back their lives. I always say there is nothing worse than being labeled as a refugee, because the moment you have that on your forehead, people forget that they used to be a doctor, a mother, a father, a friend. You are a refugee. You're labeled like that. But there are human beings behind that, like you and me. We can all be refugees. Actually, I'm third generation refugee. We do everything. Example of Bangladesh, 1 million people forced to flee from Myanmar. The people need everything in those 33 camps. So we provide water, sanitation, protection, food, education, energy for cooking, for example. Of course, we work as a UN agencies. Everything we do is aligned with the SDGs, but also for those of you who are coming from the private sector, we also align our indicator, our needs base, and our programming to the ESG. So we can align also with the environment, society, and governance objective of companies and organizations. So let's go to the topic. Why I'm here talking to you. I feel very humbled in front of such a diverse and interesting community of people sharing a common goal today, actually. So I want to start with actually a verse that I think is very appropriate for today, and then make the connection between what UNHCR does, the UN Refugee Agency, and faith-based organization. So, for I was hungry, you gave me something to eat. For I was thirsty, you gave me something to drink. For I was a stranger, you invited me in. So, I think this is beautiful, and the beauty of this verse is actually that you invited me in. It's not you let me in. It's not, okay, you have a war, of course you have to flee your country. You can come, but when it's over you can go. No, you're invited. Please come. I understand what's happening. Come, we're gonna help. Our agency is only 1% funded by the UN. So the rest of the money is actually it comes from voluntary contributions, from people, faith-based organization, other governments and the private sector. We cannot do that alone. And actually, UNHCR has always been working with faith-based organization for decades, because we acknowledge the power that all of you have in bringing peace, solidarity, compassion, changing hearts. Next. And I think that this picture tells a lot. This picture is beautiful. It was taken in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and it shows the way we work with faith-based organization. A nun welcoming refugees and making sure that they are cured if they are sick, and looking after the education of children. An imam, a Muslim, helping actually welcoming refugees at their home and promoting peace, promoting conflict resolution. This is what we do together. Next. That's why in 2021 UNHCR created a multi-religious council the multi-religious council of leaders. Over 20 religious leaders that combine their efforts together to promote peace, solidarity, compassion in the conflict and in the situation of forced displacement and conflict resolution. They meet regularly. Just last December at the Global Refugee Forum, they came together. I was blessed and honored to be there when they announced a joint pledge, but all the different religions together to talk and to address the refugee topic. Next. Since we're in Thailand, I thought it was a good way to talk the way that we work together with Buddhist organizations. So in the picture you can see Mediva Jiradom. Sorry, it's a very complicated name, but is the author of over 200 books, and he has been working for us for decades now. He was one of the first patron appointed by UNHCR for peace and compassion, and actually he gathered in a major Buddhist international event over 200 monks from all different countries to sit together and to decide and to work together on how to address the topic of people forced to flee. In the 2021 emergency in Afghanistan and Pakistan, he wrote a poem that was published on several newspapers, and he also mobilized all his network of people to collect resources that support UNHCR work. But we also work with other organizations, Soka Gakkai, Risho Kozeikai, Buddhist organization that have been working with us for over 40 years. But also the Japan Buddhist Federation, sorry, that they open up the doors of all the temples that they have in Japan to support what UNHCR does and to promote compassion and solidarity. For the Muslim community, if there is anyone here, this is actually a very important component for us. I told you about the 117 million people forced to flee. Half of them are Muslim. So a decade ago, our colleagues or my colleagues in the MENA region actually identified that 4 of the 8 categories eligible to receive zakat are perfectly aligned with the refugee topic: the poor, the needs, the in-debt, and the fair workers. So we created a refugee zakat fund. We did all the proper job talking to imams, to scholars. We get 15 fatwas that acknowledge what we do. We signed over 40 partnerships with religious and Muslim organizations. And we created a zakat compliant, sadaqah compliant fund that since 2017, when we launched it for the first time, it helped over 28 million people, I think. 8 million people in 28 countries. So a staggering number. Next. This is an example coming actually from the US, from the Church of Jesus Christ and the Latter-day Saints. They've been working together with us for over 30 years. They just announced recently a new partnership, to support 85,000 refugees in 3 different countries. And here I have a beautiful quote about the president, the humanitarian relief from the Latter Day Saints, that says, "When you bless a woman, you bless a family. When you bless a child, you bless the future, and you bless the future generations." And that's why Latter Day Saints have been supporting us, especially on those 2 topics, supporting women and supporting children. Next. Last but not least, actually, because last will be first, our relationship with the Catholic Church and the Holy See. We have an ongoing relationship, of course, with the Vatican State, and our High Commission actually is a devout Catholic and paid an official visit to the Pope just October last year. Pope Francis is a special one. He has always been promoting peace and solidarity. He has always been pleading for the cause of the forcibly displaced, and that's why we're a strong ally. And we talk always together about how to give compassion, how to support people and refugees and people forced to flee. Next. Sorry. Next. And I conclude with a quote by a rabbi. We need to say humanity first. The job of religious leaders is to act together. We must act collectively to change one heart at a time. And maybe we're gonna have some if you have questions, actually I want to trigger more your curiosity, so you can ask me questions about how we can do that together. But we can leave that for the panel conversation later, or for the Q&A. But what I want to say that we don't have all the answers at UNHCR. We, by definition, our success is by working together, is by bringing together people from different beliefs, from different religions, from different governments. We are apolitical, we are irreligious, because we need to put people first, no matter who they are, no matter the religions they are, because we need to be granted the permission to operate in every country, no matter who is in power, no matter what the politics are behind it. Together, and maybe this is a call to action, and you can help us a lot to promote compassion, our shared humanity. What we are saying, welcoming people in, presenting the strangers as human beings like us. We have been seeing, and I'm talking specific about this region because we're in Asia, we've been seeing a lot of xenophobia, a lot of example where instead of opening our arms to welcome refugees, we've been saying, we don't want them. You're not allowed to come. You're going to be a risk for our community. That's something that you can change. That's something that you can help us changing. The other one, of course, is to mobilize resources and willings and communities on these efforts. And the last one is to advocate for refugees inclusion, because the human beings like all of us, and it can happen to any of us. Thank you, and I look forward to receive any question during the Q&A. Thank you.